Hey everybody, welcome to the very first official class with Kate. I'm Codependency Kate. You guys might have seen me on social media. I'm introducing myself as if you haven't been listening to the first, 18 episodes of this podcast. Is it 18? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, wait a minute. Let me pull this up. Because I basically am going through a rebrand. Oh my gosh, it is 18. Go me. I know my own podcast. Oh my gosh, wait. My reviews went up on Spotify. This is so funny. My first episode of this podcast was an interview with an estranged adult child of this big time, I don't know, big time, whatever, um, TikTok creator. Her mom makes content around estrangement, and her daughter Sierra reached out to me, and we had been talking, and she was like, let me know if we can ever kind of collaborate. I really want to show people that there's life outside of estrangement. I'm doing really well. Because, you look at these creators online, like these parents, these estranged parents that are, a certain way, they're very indignant and going through it, and you wonder how their adult children are doing. Anyway, see, I thought it was a great opportunity for Sierra to basically have a voice. And anyway, I posted that first episode, and my people left negative reviews, and I had like, I don't know, 2 stars on my podcast. And it's funny, it's also not funny. But now I'm at 4.4 after 22 reviews. That's amazing. Also, I'm just realizing that my genre says comedy and education. Oh man, that's funny. I forgot that I put that. Um, okay, so yes, this is the first official class with Kate. I have a new jingle, which is super fun. As you guys, I've been very clear about this. I'm doing all my own tech stuff I have been doing all of my own tech stuff until now. I have a new guy that's helping me. His name's Joel, and he helped me with my camera, with my mic, with this new setup. Like we literally had an hour and a half long meeting last week, like setting this up, this like studio space or whatever. If you're watching this on YouTube, then you see the new setup. It's super fun. I have my whiteboard behind me finally. And I have this nice new mic, and I've got my headphones as usual. The only issue is that my orchid doesn't fit in the frame, and I don't know what to do. I was joking with Joel, like next time you see me, you might see the full orchid because I'm gonna cut out like 3 inches of the stem so that it can fit. It's normally in the background of like my therapy sessions, and clients are always like, "Oh my gosh, I love that orchid," and I'm like, "Yeah, it's fake, but like it's still good vibes." And anyway, so you can see the green stem, but you can't see the beautiful. I'll show you though. Look, isn't this just gorgeous? I need to figure out what to do with it. Like if it's just right here, whatever. I'm open to any and all suggestions. I love this orchid. It's so cool and good vibes and just needed in this space. And so if you see I put it on top of the shelf, it goes away. So those are my problems these days. There's always something, you'll always find me saying something, even when everything is good. I mean, I'm so excited for everything coming up. I have my first, so we're shifting the brand to Class with Kate. That's like, I'm gonna be Codependency Kate always, online and everything, but in terms of like services I'm offering, this podcast, it's gonna kind of move over from the gray area to Class with Kate. And that's because it's just more on brand. Like I'm very much have a teaching style of communicating, and I really want to like go down that avenue. So this podcast is going to shift to a show, as I've mentioned. So it's going to be Class with Kate, the show, where I do these kind of one-on-one things where I'm explaining things. I've got the whiteboard behind me. I can do anything and everything to explain and teach concepts. And so I'm going to go more into that. I'm also doing a formal class. Like I'm offering my first class. Let's see, today is Sunday. This will come out Tuesday. And Thursday, October 30th, and the next 4 Thursdays, like up until right before the week of Thanksgiving, on Thursday mornings at 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. Central Time. And I'm offering it, so they're 90-minute classes. They're via Zoom. And they are going to be around this first topic, which is defensiveness in marriage. And it's actually going to be more of what I'm going to talk a lot about this today in a different way. I'm going to talk about Mr. and Mrs. Nice Guy. That's come up in my content this week, and it's been a very that's just like been on my mind. I always wanted to start this space, like the gray area, to pick up and like fill in the blanks of questions people had from videos I posted that week. And so, anyway, I'm offering my first formal class. You can sign up. The link is in my link tree in my bio on all my socials. Link tree is just my link. I don't have a formal website yet. That's coming up at some point. Oh man. Anyway, I'm very excited about this class. I think it's going to be, I don't know. I'm very excited for the opportunity. I feel so grateful that so many people want to like learn more about this stuff. It really gives me hope in life, and I just feel grateful to be a part of something this good and real and like pure. And so this 4 week class will be starting. I'm also going to do another class starting in January. Same format, like I think Thursday mornings. That just is what works for me. I know that doesn't work for a lot of people. Like I obviously know everybody works and evenings are better and weekends are better and there's stuff with all those things too. But that's why I am going to record them. And even if you want to participate, like you want to watch the recording and because you're not able to participate, you can still like email me questions and like that I can maybe answer in the next class. So anyway, the first class is coming up this Thursday. The like registration whatever will close right before that first class starts. So you could literally sign up at 9:50. Actually, probably the latest will be 9 a.m. and the class starts at 10 a.m. So we can make sure you have the link and everything. I do have an assistant, Allie. She's again, that title feels very reductive because she literally does everything for me. She's so amazing. And she's going to be helping me with the admin type operations stuff around that. So I'm going to be offering classes basically. That's how this is evolving. I've been on social media for a couple years. Um, I love making videos. I love putting out this content. Just the impact and just the need that people have, and the fact that I have information that can, in some sort of way, meet that need, just makes me feel like I'm lifting off the ground. Like it's such an elevating emotional experience for me that I have anything to offer people and I can say things in a way that people understand that don't have access to therapy. That's like always been my goal, is to educate and bridge the gap between what people, like the general public know about relationships and what they're not getting in both in and out of therapy, because we all know therapy is it's hard to access. It's hard to find a therapist. I don't know if you guys know this, but I went to school in Nashville, Tennessee, and I started my practice there, and there is a huge therapist population there. So I'm part of like Facebook groups and networking groups and all that. And even in those groups, like even as therapists, it's hard to find a therapist, you know? So just to like validate your struggle. Um, that it's hard to find the right fit at the right time at the right cost that you vibe with. Like it's like finding a spouse. Like I mean, it's that important and that tough, but on the other side, that rewarding. I've had two incredible therapists in my life. And like, if you can imagine me, one, being trained as a therapist, and two, like teaching this online, I struggled with finding someone I felt that was like good enough for me or smarter than me or whatever. And so the pursuit was always a struggle in a way. Like I'd find someone, they weren't right, for whatever reason. And then the two that I found in my life at different times in my life have changed my entire life. And so, much like marriage, much like all relationships, like finding a therapist is the thing that might bring you the most struggle, but there's another side of it that's like beyond rewarding. So anyway, to be able to offer a class, to be able to fill in the gaps of that whole process feels just amazing. And that's just been one of my goals. So I'm offering classes. I'm going to be doing this kind of one-on-one teaching episode stuff like I did at the gray area. And then the third thing I'm doing, which I mentioned before, is I'm going to do like Class with Kate will be a call-in show where if you see something online and I really want it to be like with the times. So kind of with this pace, I think filming this podcast sometimes weekly is stressful in a way that's like, oh, I need to get this done. It's got to be right, by Tuesday every week, and it has to be based on the content the week before. And I've thought a lot about like, okay, for my own quality of life, should I change that? And I'm like, no, I love that concept. It's like news, it's like current. I want it to be current. I don't want old shit. And like to do a class or to do something and then premiere it 3 months later when my mind is like totally somewhere else. And so, I don't know how that's going to work with what I'm doing here and long term and sustainability wise, but I love that part about this that it's like very much, I want this to be a live kind of thing. Like you're watching my social media during the week, and then the next week I'm going to be talking about it on here in some way. Excuse me. But anyway, I'm going to do a call-in show where people are going to call in here. I already got the software set up. Joel hooked me up with that. Thank you, Joel. Thank you, Joel. When I was doing this with him, I was like, man, I can't even tell you the emotional like load you're taking off and like mental load. And that's just their tech people are invaluable people. Same with people like Allie, operations people. They're just invaluable. So to this process. And especially someone like me who's done it for 4 years, 4.5 almost. It's no, over 4.5, where it's just truly been on my own. I've had help along the way, in various places, but nothing like consistent, like where's people on my payroll type thing. And I'm just very lucky to be able to do that at this point, to accomplish my goals, but also to, I don't know, accomplish my goals, but like just make things easier for me as I pursue this avenue of my career, but also meeting the need. And that will always be a relationship. Um, and so point being, oh yeah, thank you, Joel, for the software stuff. But the call-in show, you can sign up again at the link in my bio. If you want to anonymously ask a question, your voice will be the only thing that is heard. And so it'll be, 15, 30-minute things. It can be, or it can be, 45 minutes where we're getting into your situation. It just depends. But I think I want to show people an interaction and the types of questions and what curiosity looks like, and just answer literally people's questions in an interactive way as opposed to just like responding to somebody's comment with a video and I don't even know their context. So like I don't even know if it's helpful. For me as a therapist, that's been like the struggle is I interacting online. It's like I'm responding to this person, but it's purely from my own point of view. I don't know their context, and to be able to effectively answer this question, I need to know their context. And so that's the need that I hope this call-in show kind of will meet. So all very exciting things. I've been feeling the past week or two, like the emotional part of this for me, like the almost spiritual part is like this feels like the beginning of something big and something new, but in a really just not in a arrogant or braggy way, but I just feel excited and like I feel calm. I don't know if you guys were with me 6 months ago, but like I got a lot of new people 6 months ago when I started posting about estrangement. That's when Instagram took off and everything. But 6 months ago, I had similar feelings. Like every day just felt easy. People are like, oh, that's flow state. And it's feeling like this now in a way. It's feeling like I'm on the cusp of something. And it's just exciting. And I'm talking about this because I want to like mark these moments of change. My mom is really good about that. She's very like, we need to mark things. And That's just why I want to talk about it because I'm just so grateful for everyone that's been with me at this point, like up until this point. And I really hope to keep this vibe small and like personal, where it feels like I'm just a human being and a person, and so are you. And like we're just figuring things out together. And it's not fucking, Mel Robbins. I don't know. I can't with her, but I respect her grind, but I also like I just don't want it to ever feel commercial or fake or markety or whatever. And I just want you guys to know this is real. Like my journey to I did a podcast. I recorded a podcast with Joss Stone. She's a Grammy Award winning artist and just she's a mom of four, married mom of four, and she has a podcast called A Cup of Love. And she and this other guy, Lamar, they talk kind of all things relationships. And anyway, they had me on. We recorded this past week. I don't even know when it's coming out, but she was just asking me like why I started posting. And I haven't done podcasts like this where people ask me stuff really. And it was just nice 'cause I was like reminded of why I started posting. And this just really is such a pure, like my intentions behind posting have been so pure. Like I really feel like there is such a need people have, but I also feel like I am one of the people that could just add value in that way. And that's just for me been it's just doors open in ways, when you're really just walking through them basically when you're just like walking through opportunities in front of you. And so I don't know. I'm just feeling like very still in this stuff. So, that's kind of a summary of all that's going on. I know it took longer than normal to run that through, but just for everyone that's listening, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And keep engaging with me because I want to know, like, I'm a real person too. We all, like, I want to stay with my eyes in the trenches. Um, so, going to today's topic, we're going to be talking about kind of in line again with defensiveness. Um, we're going to be talking about Mr. and Mrs. Nice Guy. There was a post. I did a couple after the Joss Stone pod. I recorded that podcast this week with her and Lamar. I recorded a couple of videos, and they just like felt different to me. And since then, I've been on this like felt sense of how painful these things are. The nice guy trope, like the nice girl trope, like Mrs. Nice Guy, basically, and how that's essentially what is the issue in so many marriages. I've talked about resentment and defensiveness. And when we talk about relationships breaking down, it's a lot of times not big T things, like big T affairs or betrayals. A lot of times those things do happen, but from my point of view, I'm watching the storm and the conditions before the hurricane arrives. I'm like a freaking meteorologist looking at the conditions. And this is what I want to help educate people on is these conditions that happen before the storm hits so that you're not so like uprooted. Um and one of those things is being Mrs. Nice Guy, is this people pleasing. I'm not going to share my emotions, my needs, my desires. I'm here to serve. Marriage is about sacrifice in my marriage and with my kids. And you build all of this resentment. And wait, what did I want to talk specific? Oh, and we're so quick to see this, I think, in men, like Mr. Nice Guy, like the nice guy. And guys, I think this is a lot online, what I mean, but um the issue is they're like, I'm such a nice person. I'm so giving. I pay for dates. I do all of this stuff and she's not into me. And these men, they come off, I think, to women and people scared, like because there's a fear factor with men and other people, like women, kids, like younger people. I don't think men realize this a lot, is that people have a lot of fear of them. And so men, they have kind of normal human reactions sometimes, and they get really confused as to why people have such a visceral reaction to something that's really human and normal in them. And anyway, it's that fear factor. But um, to women, that like comes off as really scary because it comes off as if you have an agenda and that you're trying to get something, and it plays into all this like male entitlement type stuff and patriarchy and the loneliness epidemic and all that. So I think where it's easier to spot in men, or like it's more, people are more aware of it in men. And we all know, I think, I don't know if we all know, the good girl syndrome. It's the same concept, like people pleasing, masking. If you're like late diagnosed ADHD, ADHD, whatever, autism too, that you mask all the time, you people please, and you're actually coming off as cold. That was a video I did this week. This girl, oh, hold on, let me pause. So that's what we're going to talk about today, is that specific trope. And I'm excited to talk about it in this way because it's just a new like uh, way through to help educate you on why being authentic and expressing your feelings, needs, and desires at all costs, like in all your relationships, why that's so important and why not doing that is a form of narcissism. Like we see, let me pause. Allie told me, she was like, you're an editor's dream because you don't mumble a lot and you don't use ums and there's not a lot of filler words, but you're an editor's worst nightmare because you don't pause. So I'm like, shit. Okay, hold on. Let me back up. When you are people pleasing, that is a form of narcissism. hmm That is a form of using other people as like supply to make yourself feel good about yourself. So let's get there on our own. We're looking at let's start with Mr. Nice Guy. So he's nice. He pulls out your chair. He pays for your date. He walks you to your door. You're like, you're not really feeling it. You're like, this guy's cute, you know? He's cute, but I'm not really feeling it. It just doesn't, I'm not like turned on. I'm not excited. I'm not, basically feeling things. And so then he's like, maybe it happens a couple dates, or it happens to him with other women, and he's just like, what the hell? Like, I'm doing everything right. Why don't women want to sleep with me? That's how it comes off. And it's easy to look at him and be like, this is male entitlement, this is the problem, and this is all this stuff. But the emotional undercurrent of that is that this guy is not being honest. He's not being authentic. I talk to people a lot about emotional honesty. And this Mr. Nice Guy is not honest. He's not honest. He's not true to himself. He's just doing the shoulds. And people, the way, so that's the internal mechanism of it, is like he's just suppressing his true self. And when we say true self, we mean feelings, needs, and desires. Like we mean, I'm really like I really had a hard day today, and I was really looking forward to this date. And I feel like I just was like off today. Like that's emotional honesty. That's like I really enjoy, because it's the reason it matters is because it's like, did you really enjoy the date with her? If you're coming from this place of like people pleasing, did you really enjoy it? And it's like, no, it's a performance. Like you're not really curious about her. That's the other problem. The way that this comes off as like you're performing, so this is all about you and like saying the right things and getting those nods of approval and smiles and laughs. And it's not about getting to know her and like knowing that getting to know her, you might not like her, being open to not liking her or being open to really liking her. And so that's like, what they're missing when they're Mr. Nice Guys. They're not listening to like what they really like, what they're really attracted to, what they really want in someone. And so because they're disconnected from that, they can't be honest and upfront about that and build an authentic connection. And to women who have a lot to lose in getting into a relationship and committing to a man in terms of, her body, her career, possibly, family, like all of these invested things that she has to lose also. Um, she senses this. Like it's not necessarily just an intuition, like it because that's like dismissive, honestly. But she feels this and she maybe doesn't know why. Like it's hard to pinpoint with this behavior what it is. Because and because these people, Mr. Nice Guys, also are the most defensive people on the planet. And that's defensiveness really is a close-heartedness. Like it's a, wait a minute, let me hear what you're really saying. And it's a, I did everything right. Like, how can you criticize me? I'm trying so hard. Like people that try hard, like try the most are the most resistant to criticism, even though it's constructive. And so that's where I think this is a great example of how this shows up in men and in relationships. And really, if we zoom out on this, it's such a greater issue, is like the lack of connection to people's true selves and how it shows up in dating and how it shows up in relationships. And so that's kind of the male version. And I think I don't even know what happens after that for men. If they're just like, women don't want a nice guy. Well, I know that is so what happens when people feel so rejected by this, when they're performing so much, when women don't want to sleep with them, when they get ghosted, all these things, what happens is they can get really resentful, they can go far right, and that this is about women. And people make, when they feel rejected like this, um, they makes generalizations and labels. Like this is when those come in to function as another layer of protection. And people don't real like I feel so sad for people. I think that's what I really want everyone listening to take an attitude of is like compassion for these people because in all my stuff I talk about having compassion and boundaries. Like both can exist. I'm not asking you when I say compassion to not have boundaries with these people, to engage with them in the same way, even if it hurts you. I'm not asking that. I just mean like conceptually for your own sake, for your own heart, understanding that these men in particular, not in particular, but just in this kind of category, they're really struggling. Like they really, and the saddest part is they don't even know that they're struggling. And so they're lost in this way spiritually, emotionally. Men have failed them. That, I mean, oh my gosh, like bodybuilders, like all this shit, like they have been sold lies and they don't even know their lies. And so, we had when I was in school to be a therapist, I call that therapy school. We had a professor. He was so funny. We had very few male professors, which was amazing because therapy, the field, is dominated by women. And a lot of schools, believe it or not, they only have male professors. And that's bullshit, obviously. But anyway, we had this one male professor. He was older. He was very like stereotypically male, like where he's very logical. He didn't like to be interrupted. Even if you raised your hand, like he was very much like he was like visibly annoyed by that. I remember the second class being like, "Do I need to wear skirts to class like to get this shit wrapped up so I can actually learn stuff?" Because this guy's like energy is weird. Anyway, we would be in class and he would be describing what was the class with him? I think it was abnormal. So we talked a lot about the DSM and specific disorders. And when he would be describing something, he would be like, we don't say a schizophrenic. We don't say a bipolar person. We don't say an addict. We say someone struggling with schizophrenia or someone who has schizophrenia. Like you separate the person from their mental health issues. And so he would be describing this case of a person with schizophrenia, for example. And he would say, and what do we think about that? Sad. And what do we think about this, cheating, lying guy? Sad. He works, yeah, so that was like a funny thing for me because I'll probably say that more. I want to actually steal that because it's real. It's like, let's remind ourselves that like what people are struggling with really ultimately is sad. That is a trauma informed way of looking at yourself, and the people who really come off in a certain way, but like that we're human beings and having real struggles. The Mr. Nice Guy is struggling, and that is sad. And sadness again doesn't mean pity. It doesn't mean you have to change anything. Again, I just mean like for our heart's sake, let's like hold all of this at the same time. And that Mr. Nice Guy is sad, and it's going to take a long road of pain to act for him to actually go inward about that pain. Hopefully, that's like the goal is like I'm struggling over and over and over. Maybe it's me. Maybe part of this is me. And can I even go there? Can I wade those waters? And man, I just think it's the coolest thing in the world when people do that. So shifting to the Mrs. Nice Guy, how this shows up in women, it's the same, like similar behaviors. One of the videos I posted this week, um, I'm taking sips of water as we go. But one of the videos I posted this week was like a stitch of a stitch. And this one video, this 29-year-old came on and she was like, I don't know what I'm doing wrong, but I cannot date. Like, what is wrong with the world? What is wrong with me? What am I doing wrong? And this other girl, she made a post for this girl, but like, obviously posted it publicly and said, I used to be like this. Like I was very high functioning. I listened, all the dating advice wasn't working for me. I was doing everything right. Like I didn't understand why in my relationships I was not connecting basically, and why I couldn't find a boyfriend, and why I couldn't feel loved, and like all this stuff. And she was like, and this is common with overfunctioning, high performing, highly competent people in general. And when, we're talking about women now, but like basically that you're overly sanitizing the connection. That's the language she used. And I like to, by the way, give examples of videos I see because I think people are saying that a lot of times they're saying the same thing I'm saying, but they're saying it in a much better way. So not to like copyright and steal their saying, but I just want to like honor that you and other people, you listening, the way that you describe things can be so much better than me. And so, and that's valid and real, and that's why people need to hear from you too, That's why your voice matters also. But she was just like, back to the video, she was like, I was like performing connection. I was like asking them all the questions and being like, oh, and like being so interested and like encouraging and all this stuff. And she was like, for me, I wasn't really being honest in these interactions. There wasn't room for my feelings here, or like, oh, that's weird. Like having it even in reaction to something, or like even taking a breath. If you're listening to this and you identify with being Mrs. Nice Guy in dating, but especially in your marriage, can you even in vulnerable moments like take a breath? I don't know, and say, I don't know. And say, I don't know if I like that. Where you're just like, you're really being with it, with what you're feeling, what you need, what you want. I know I use that language, but what that looks like is say you're with a Mr. Nice Guy on a date and he's just asking you a lot of questions and you're Mrs. Nice Guy also. And what that looks like a shift for you is like, whew, these are a lot of questions, you know? Did you guys think I was like disconnected? Because I waited a couple of seconds. Hmm. Hmm. Like responding almost non-verbally sometimes. Hmm. I don't know. Like that's what's really happening inside. We're not computers that have the processing speed of like instant. For behavior and events and stimuli to really register and like for us to digest, it takes like slowing the fuck down. Slowing down. That's what it looks like on a date. Slowing down and being like, I don't know. Hmm. So like these are a lot of questions. Do you always ask this many questions? Like when you're sitting with things in the moment, you're deepening something. And that's what this takes. So like instead of this performing anxious energy, be affected by what is happening in front of you. Um, moving to like what this looks like in marriage when you're dealing with a Mr. Nice Guy. In my experience with people, and even in my own, it's very easy. So like you're learning all this stuff from me, right? Like I'm educating you on the language and what things are called and the context that things happen in and family systems and how it's connected to all these things. And that's like I think people get really excited by me in an intellectual capacity. They're like, "Oh, she knows a lot." And what I really hope to do is help you translate that in the moment because that's what matters. You can know everything, but if you can't apply it in the moment, then the fuck does it matter, you know? And so that's what I wanted this to translate to in your relationships, what this actually looks like is instead of being this people pleaser and the embodiment of anxiety. Even if you have trauma, even if you have abandonment issues, even if all this blah, 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 like, even so, can you slow down and be affected by what's happening in front of you and naming that? Like, woof, I'm overwhelmed. Mr. Nice Guy's asking a lot of questions. Woof, I'm overwhelmed. Are you okay? Are you anxious? Are you feeling anxious? I ask a lot of questions when I'm anxious too. Yeah. Yeah, well, I haven't met you before. Say you're on a date. Haven't met you before. This is anxiety inducing. Yeah. Did you, what made you pick this restaurant? Was this like on Instagram? Yes, I do that too. Like you're connecting over the difficulty of connecting. And so anyway, that's like dating stuff. And what this looks like in marriage, like if your partner is Mr. Nice Guy, I've gotten a lot of messages. Oh, wait, let me look at my poll. I think I screenshotted this. I did a poll on my Instagram stories that was like, are you Mr. Nice Guy or is that your partner or whatever? And I got, let's see the results of that. Okay, I had, yes, it's my partner. So 140 people have partners who are Mr. Nice Guys. Yes, it's me, 70 people, so half of that. And then no, I don't understand 160, so like between that. So I think that Mr. Nice Guys and Mrs. Nice Guys are the most insidious ways that relationships get destroyed over time. And this is just another way of talking about all the stuff I normally talk about, but resentment basically. Because when you're Mr. Nice Guy, you're Mrs. Nice Guy, you're resentful as hell because you're not honest. They're doing things and you have all these beliefs or whatever about how to respond to those things. and you're performing and masking instead of being like, hold on, what? And so you're things are working towards an implosion of some sort or an explosion of some sort. Like whether the explosion is an affair or an addiction or a problem child, a child with behavioral issues. We can talk about that. I could talk about that for days about how this manifests in that way. But externally, it comes out like that, or internally, it comes out. So, in the autoimmune issues, migraines, cancer, I mean, literally, people, all this stuff is related. Everything is connected, and we're social beings. Emotions exist, and especially in our marriages and family, they happen on a micro level. So here's what I'm just going to say. If you are Mr. Nice Guy, if you are Mrs. Nice Guy, what I'm going to tell you to do is to slow the fuck down. That's number one. Slow down with your actions, I'll say. Your body will follow, like your brain will follow. But like slow down. When you wake up, manually slow yourself down. Walking to the bathroom, slow down. Brushing your teeth, slow down. When you're waking up your kids, slow down. What people are afraid of when they do this is like, oh, I won't get things done or I won't get them done as well. And that's the lie of anxiety. It's like, oh, if I don't have this manic energy urgency, I won't do things well or quickly or efficiently. And that's so false. If you guys have ever done cocaine or Adderall, like where, or like you drink a bunch of coffee, where you're like manually getting stimulated, you like forget that your baseline is not that way. And, or wait, you're like reminded that that's not your baseline. And so I almost, here's what I'll tell you too. Um, to just point this out that your nervous system is dysregulated as fuck if you're a people pleaser, if you're a Mr. Nice Guy, Mrs. Nice Guy, your nervous system is so dysregulated. And trauma therapy will help, obviously, but day to day, you need to be slowing the fuck down, letting things digest and taking things in bites. So that's one thing to do, slowing down in interactions. And I'm telling you what this to do with your parents, with your estranged parents or like low contact or whatever parents, with the mailman, with the cashier at Kroger, with everything. Slow down and be affected by what's happening in front of you, but not in a verbal way. That's the challenge. Okay, that's what I'm going to challenge you to do. Okay, so number one, energetically slow down. um Oh, back to what I was saying. So the lie of anxiety, you will get things done way more efficiently if you're like, all right, I'm slowing down. I'm intentionally doing this. So what's going to happen is your brain is finally going to get some air, like some oxygen to like calm down. Like it's just literally like a breath when you're slowing down. You will be way more efficient. You will be way more intentional. You will be way more, it will be way more obvious as to what dumb shit you're doing that you don't need to be doing. So anyway, the lie of anxiety is that you won't be as productive, but you will be more productive if you slow down. Okay. So there's that. And then the second thing is that this is such a great practice, and I really hope people report back to me on this, but this works, by the way. It works not only for yourself to accomplish all the goals I'm talking about, but to to your relationships also. If you are this way, you people please, you shut down, you internalize, or you have a partner or parent that's this way, this is going to work, this strategy. Letting yourself react and be affected by what they're saying, but in a nonverbal way. That's the challenge at first. Obviously, we're going to integrate words along the way. But if you intellectualize and judge and criticize and like if you intellectualize, by the way, you're probably very critical, and that's how you come off. And this is the same way. If you people please, you probably are performing a lot, but you come off as really cold and fake. Like you really do. It's a feeling. I think this is why this is like, men are also very intuitive. Like it's not just women that sense this, like can sniff this stuff out. Men are too. Men are too. I think I'm just like realizing online, the language came to me that there, in these relationships and especially online, there's really a lot of dehumanization of men. There really is. Like men are just pieces of shit. They're evil, all this stuff. And I swear to God, you guys, every time someone has male this stereotype is coming in my office, they're not pieces of shit. There's an underbelly of what's happening here emotionally. And yes, they're fucking up in the way they're handling it. Yeah, 100%. 100%. But remember, two things are true. Two things are true. They can both be fucking up and be totally overwhelmed, scared, not know what to do, and ashamed and stuck. Like, yes, that's the attitude you need. But in practice, when your husband is being defensive and cold-hearted, instead of you're being defensive and cold-hearted. Kate, this is you need to listen to Kate's podcast. She talks all about this. I mean, do this too, whatever, fine, I don't care. But instead of only that, being like, I'm feeling so disconnected from you. I'm really like hurting. I want to be connected to you so badly. Hmm. This is really painful. Are you in pain too? Hmm. Yeah. Like, what I want you to do is start saying, like, ouch, you know? Like, ouch. Like, you're making me feel so guilty right now with what you're saying. I'm feeling so attacked by what you're saying. Is that what you're meaning to do? Like, in this level, so what we need to do, and I talked with Joss on her podcast like the last week, like, you have to bring this to a deeper level. And doing that takes going slower, taking breaths, asking questions that are real questions, feeling what you're feeling, and just going deeper, whether they meet you there or not. Yeah. Whether they meet you there or not, you get to be in your own energy orb about this. So those are the two things I want you to do. Like, use as little words as possible when responding. Like, because what we're also trying to do is come down to the present. What people don't know is like, well, I don't know. In spirituality, like spirituality is in like magic, fairy dust is in these moments. I talked this week about a lot of people, I've been helping people. I've done a series on defensiveness, and they're like, and I'm like, own what you feel and what you need and what you want. And I encourage people to say, like, hey, do you know that even though you're defensive as fuck, like, I still love you and still want you. And that's why I'm even having this conversation with you. Like, in slowing it down and saying that stuff. And the feedback I got was like, what if I don't know what I want? And I made a video and I was like, number one, that's fair. It's good to know that you don't want something right now. It's good to know that if you don't know, that's good. One, because that shows you're not in this black and white space of like, I have to know right now. Like timing is kind of introduced to these that layer is like, well, I don't know what I want right now. And I'm like, great, say that. Say that. My point in all of this is like getting vulnerable and real and being like heart led like this in a way, while also having boundaries and protecting yourself. It's like we're not just putting your heart out on the table. Like it's being like, hey, I don't know if I want this, and I don't, and right now that means separate rooms for me because I don't know, and I want to know, and I want it with you, you know. But so my point is that people that are unfamiliar with being vulnerable are also really terrible receivers. Because you're scared to be vulnerable, your self-protective mechanisms come up. And your self-protective mechanisms we identify as like intellectualizing or what else? Intellectualizing, criticizing, being defensive, like all these things um, are they are self-protective and that's because you're so scared of getting rejected. And the real truth is like, if I'm really honest like this, and if I really say, the way you're treating me makes me feel like you don't love me. Is that true? Like, I'm honestly realizing that I'm so insecure about the way you feel about me. And that I'm just really hurt to be in that place. And you're saying this, so you're not saying that because you're scared that they're going to say, "Yeah, I actually don't." And maybe that's happened before. Maybe, like maybe there's some truth there. Um, but the skill and my whole like thing is you can heal yourself in a relationship. Like if they do that, then you are going to know eventually what you want. But also in that moment, if you do want to like want it with them, like they're your partner, you have kids together, like the marriage really means a lot to you in general. Like it's just, first of all, this is a spiritual question. It's like what you want. That's like it's not just like what do I want for breakfast? This is not an exchange. This is not a transaction. This is like a huge question for your life that requires wonder and curiosity. Like what do I want? Let's look at the options. Like, let's get on divorce talk and look at this. Is this what I want? Is this the life I want? Is this because I'm not committed to this dysfunction? And if this changed in this person, would I just feel free to go on my way? Or would I feel sad? Like, like what? It's so different for everyone. You know your own love story. You know your own relationship. You know this person, how they are, if they're good. If they the question in the connected phase of everything is like, I'm going to be this way. This is a relationship with me, whether we're married or not, is like openness and love and support and honesty. Like, will you do that with me? Like, that's kind of the standard is like, this is what marriage with me looks like. Can you live up to that in a way? Um, but the basic thing is like, but can you be open to being surprised? What if it is them? What if they can live up to it, but you're robbing yourself of those opportunities in the moment because you won't shut the hell up because you're trying to intellectualize everything because you're so scared. Can you stop like sabotaging yourself in these moments and be open to being surprised that they might actually do something differently this time? Will you even be in a place to see it? And that's why I talk a lot about getting your own life because you why I talk about getting your own life and like also doing the work on yourself and like leading in this way is because are you going to be ready when that time comes? Can't to even receive it, to even see what change looks like. in these moments, in these conversations? Are you going to be so present and in your feelings? Because that's the other thing. Emotions, needs, desires, this all of it brings you to the moment because your body, this is your body's intelligence, and your body is the moment. Your body is like breath, like steps, like it's so in the moment. And that's where spirituality, when I talk about like magic dust or like fairy dust or God, whatever you believe, energy, quantum shit, whatever you believe, it's in the moment. And when you can be connected to the moment, you can be surprised to something new and different. And so that's why I really want to encourage you to be in the moment and be connected to your emotions, your needs and desires as much as you can, because that's where change happens, is in these moments. It's not, Mr. Nice Guy, Mrs. Nice Guy, you guys don't change overnight. It's not some dramatic, like, where you can stop being, stop shooting heroin today. Like, it's just not that, it's not that concrete, and it's not that external. This is internal. It's a whole revamp of the way you live your life, like marriage and family is. That's why it's so parenting. Like, this stuff is so hard, and not everyone should do it. I love that people are being more discerning about how many kids they're having, and if they even want to get married. I just love that. I hope that more people don't get married because they don't want to, because this is the work. And all in the name of protecting children, right? Always. That's like always the goal. It's all that. Kids need stable parents. In stable parents, a stable marriage. And what takes a stable marriage is people being able to go deeper and being present. And it all circles, and that's going to benefit your kids because then you can play. Then it's fun. It's not that so serious. So, um, if you're Mr. or Mrs. Nice Guy, oh, what I was going to say about it too, about it being narcissistic, was like, I don't know. That's just not a fun topic. So I'll cover that maybe that seems like more short form content anyway. People love that shit. They love those little moments that land but don't really transform. That's a little hater comment by me, but anyway, um, join my class on Thursday. If out of, we're going to talk more about this. I'm so excited to interact more about this and like translate all this shit I'm saying to real people. So, thanks for listening to Class with Kate. There's one more thing I need from you if you're listening. I also have a link in my bio where I'm looking to collect therapists that are client referred and recommended. Clients that have had great experience with their therapist. I want you to submit their information, and I'm going to reach out to them and ask them if they want more clients or want to be on the list. Because I get emails, DMs, comments all the time like, I need a therapist like you. And um, I want to just have a bank of client recommended therapists. So there's a link for that. If you have or have had a great therapist, this is free, like for everybody. No one's benefiting financially in this way. It's genuinely a service to people. So if you could do that. And ultimately, thanks again for following along, for being part of this. And